Well, hello and welcome to Fox News Tonight. I'm Will Cain. Last Thursday, the Supreme Court of the United States restored hope that America can live up to its declaration, that it is self-evident, it's a self-evident truth, that all men are created equal. The Supreme Court ruled that race-conscious admission policies employed by universities like Harvard and North Carolina are a constitutional violation of the 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause. And it turns out this is a cause for celebration for the vast majority of Americans who agree with the Supreme Court, who wrote, quote, "Eliminating racial discrimination means eliminating all of it. It cannot mean one thing when applied to one individual and something else when applied to a person of another color." An ABC Ipsos poll reveals that 52% of Americans agree with the decision to overturn race-based admissions. But sadly, this did not go over well with many Democrats. New York Congressman Jamal Bowman said the court is illegitimate and that they're there to serve white supremacy and white patriarchy.
The Supreme Court is here to serve oligarchs. They're here to serve billionaires. They're here to serve large corporations. They're here to serve white supremacy and white patriarchy and nativism. They want to take away our civil rights. They want to take away our voting rights, our human rights, women's rights. They want to make our country more dangerous by expanding concealed carry permits. They don't want black people to be educated. We need a new constitutional convention that includes all people, women, people of color, LGBTQ, everyone, not just white patriarch oligarchs.
Illegitimate. White supremacy. That's funny because that's exactly what I thought of the response from Senator Dick Durbin to the court's decision. Durbin said he was, quote, disappointed in the Supreme Court's ruling effectively barring the use of race as a factor in college admissions. George Wallace could not have said it better himself, Senator. It's almost impossible at this point to tell the difference between the racist rhetoric of the 1950s segregationists and the self-styled anti-racists of today. After the ruling, Yatan Chu, she's a New York City public school parent and the co-founder of the advocacy group Asian Wave Alliance, she cheered the saying, "I told my daughter that today is a big day. They've ended affirmative action. Isn't that what you've always been fighting for?" she asked. I said, yes. And why would Chu celebrate? Because prior to this decision, there was no group more subjected to discrimination in academics than Asian Americans. According to data cited in this case, Harvard applicants in the top academic decile, that's the top 10%, had different chances of admission depending on their race. 56% of black students in the top 10% were admitted to Harvard. 31% of Hispanic students got in. Only 15% of white students were admitted. And just 12.7% of Asians in the top 10% were admitted into Harvard. A black student in the top half of his academic class had a better chance of getting into Harvard than an Asian student or a white student in the top 10%. Now, one would think a nation that takes a great step forward in judging individuals on the content of their character and their merit and not the color of their skin is a cause for celebration. But in response to Chu, former CNN personality Soledad O'Brien tweeted, "Congrats on screwing over other people of color, ma'am." It's an interesting statement. So many implications. Does that mean that if an Asian American parent who finds that their teenager is being discriminated against because of the skin color that they maintain, that they should just shut up and be happy about being allowed into America? Or is it instead the implication here that Asians should feel a sense of solidarity with every other American above an undefined level of melanin? And if so, this exhibits a level of racism. If that's what this implication is, that anyone above this level of undefined melanin should all stand in solidarity with one another, that's more regressive than even the thoughts of George Wallace. In fact, this is more reminiscent of the racist progressives of the earliest 20th century. Back then, they traced a lineage, they measured skulls, they counted drops of blood as to who is a, quote, person of color. And actually, this underlies the entire conversation about affirmative action. Who's eligible for lower standards due to race? What is race? Who is black? Who is white? How do you reduce someone, say, of mixed race to the appropriate checked box? This is the proposed pseudoscience of the modern-day anti-racist. And man, they would have fit in on Leonardo DiCaprio's plantation in Django Unchained. I mean, college campuses already look like segregationist Jim Crow, with separate student unions and dorms and graduations for each race. How long before they dive back into phrenology? For that matter, if the goal of affirmative action is diversity, what is diversity? Define diversity. Is it 10% black, 20% black, 50%? Is it 10% Asian, 50% Asian? What is diversity? That's a question, by the way, that's really only been asked by our most brilliant Supreme Court Justice, Clarence Thomas. And the only answer that he was given by counsel in this case, and I'm serious now, was to trust. Just trust me, bro. Trust the pseudoscientific race experts in the back room of the admissions office at Harvard. Now, make no mistake, this decision was a huge win, a win against racism. There was a saying recently that's been commandeered by the left over the last several of years in an attempt to explain white privilege, but it's actually a quote that goes back to Thomas Sowell, and it reads, "When people get used to preferential treatment, equal treatment seems like discrimination." That's exactly what we're seeing with the reaction to the decision to end affirmative action. So don't think the university system will just give up racism. The entire enterprise has gulped down racial preferences and shadow quotas. They've gulped it down with such vigor that it's as if it's been swallowed up by David Duke. Racism is now ingrained in the DNA of Harvard. Right after that directive that they had to stop using race, Harvard said it was, quote, a hard day. And then Harvard's president-elect, Claudine Gay, essentially admitted the school would ignore the ruling of the Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court's decision on college and university admissions will change how we pursue the educational benefits of diversity, but our commitment to that work remains steadfast.
In other words, they'll find new, more secretive ways to be racist. But while universities will quietly look to advance their agenda, Democrats will scream out loud about their agenda. After calling the court illegitimate in the clip we played earlier, Congressman Bowman called for the court to be expanded and term limited.
Expand the Supreme Court. We need Supreme Court ethics reform, and we need term limits. But we need democracy reform overall, which also includes ending the filibuster.
And Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and other Democrats, well, they used the opportunity as well to attack the court.
This far-right, extremist, imbalanced Supreme Court, which seeks to make history for all the wrong reasons.
They are basically reinterpreting congressional statute to fit their ideological preconceptions.
I support expanding the Supreme Court because we have a radical, extreme supermajority on the Supreme Court.
There also must be impeachment on the table. We have a broad level of tools to deal with misconduct, overreach, and abuse of power.
Impeach the justices, term limit the justices, pack the court. For all the talk of civility and the talk of the restoration of norms, it seems there is no institution of our republic that won't be destroyed in defense of their democracy.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.